Soundtest. Check. Hello Vault. My name is Stefan, aka the Flashover, and this is the last session of Let's Code.NET benchmarking library for C# Roslyn components. We have had quite a journey behind of us. Page that I'm showing all the links that we visited throughout the series. I have put together here. And we've had quite a number of sessions. This is now session number 16, the very last session where we will do a bit of review, bug fix, and cleanup. Actually, I guess we'll focus on a bug that we have. Then we will conclude this series and we'll announce the new format at a new time, which then will be the series for the rest of this year. So let's jump into The code. There it is. Because what I introduced off stream is GitHub Actions. We have both a CD pipeline for deploying actually publishing it on NuGet, publishing the package, building packages and publishing them on NuGet, and also a CI pipeline where we run the tests. Let's have a look at this workflow. If I understand, yeah, view workflow file, and we will run this. Or whenever we push to the main branch, or when we have a pull request against the main branch. We set some environment variables to make it as fast as possible. For example, the first time experience is not really needed in CI, because I assume every time a new environment will be provided, so there is no, I think the first time experience is extracting some packages to a location to make subsequent builds faster, but we don't really need that, I believe. And we will be running this both in debug and release build on these 3 operating systems. And we will first check out the source code. We will set up .NET, which then goes into, let's have a look at the source code. It's not on this level, but in the root of the repository, there is a global.json file. And in this global.json file, I select, okay, it needs to at least be .NET 6 and should use the latest feature version, which then this action here is selecting. Then we will do a .NET restore, a .NET build for the relevant configuration, debug and release, and also a test. However, I currently have this if here because on non-Windows, my tests are failing. I do have a previous failed build. There it is. And we're gonna have a look at the issue. Why does it pass on Windows, but why does it fail on non-Windows? And are going to fix it. So let's, where do we see one test failing? Some projects are empty. There it is. No, that's something because it's not empty. Come on. There it is. So let's copy that to a new code window. And so there is, the tests are failing because the location is different than what we expect. And I had a look at it already. This is because of the line endings, because Windows is having, was it return carriage new line, and non-Windows have just new line. So there is one additional character, which now doesn't exist on the other platforms. And yeah, we need to normalize that. So let's jump to one of the tests. I guess we have them here in the markup parser, right? Do we have an example somewhere here? Yes. Actually, let's find this failing test because I had a look at a different one. Can I search this? Or is it just not showing? Guess it's not loading. Oh, I hope this works. Not really. Perhaps this works to find the equivalent. Yeah, there it is. So we expected the first span to be at 108, but it was at 100. And the end 123, but it was 115. So there is both a difference of 8, and I assume there is now, until the first diagnostic, there is 8 new lines. Let's have a look. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So, okay. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 for this line, and at character position 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 15, which we have, okay, actually 13. Was it 13? I made a mistake counting, I guess so. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 13. Yeah, okay. And yeah, so if this should be 100 and 115, now the test would pass on non-Windows, but now it would be failing on Windows. So I'm not trying to figure out what the best behavior is for that, because this basically we now have the failure in the other direction. For that, I would like to have a look at what Microsoft.codeanalysis.testing is doing. Because this is what I got heavily inspired from to build the benchmarking library. So I'll be creating a new project. I will be doing this in Visual Studio because Visual Studio has a template for that. Is it in VS SDK? Yes. There's a analyzer with code fix template. Sure. Analyzer 1. I would like to find out what Microsoft is doing in that package to do the equivalent. Okay, let's close down these. All right, zoom in. So there is this project has an analyzer, and this analyzer creates a diagnostic if the name of a symbol of any named type is not all uppercase. And this will report diagnostic analyzer 1 in this case. So let's go seek the tests. And here, yes, in order to get this diagnostic, then using the markup syntax. So what if there was no markup syntax? Perhaps I'll also get rid of some additional usings that we don't really require. And yeah, I can't use the with location now because we removed the markup. So we now need to use a different location overload. So there is a with span. That seems to be, you can say the start line, a start column, end line, and the end column. I was hoping that there is a variant which is, because the problem that we're facing is with the character position, not necessarily line. There is a line position, that's a line in the character. Perhaps with span should be the right thing, where we have a line position span, which has a start and an end. And they're doing a negative one here because in the internal representation it's 0 based, and what's displayed to the user is 1 based. So we have a start line with start column. Oh no, that's not the thing. That's okay. So they actually don't allow. Why is it the file? Position span. There's a path. Start and an end with a line position, but that's a line and a character. So it seems that they are just don't allowing it and therefore not having this issue. And perhaps that's the way to go, to just remove it. Line position span. It's just a start position, which is a line and a character. So there is no issue with the new lines. Okay. Perhaps this would fix it. Just not being able anymore to set the span, but only the line span and the mapped span, but not the source span, to ignore that in the tests. Basically, so I would also need to remove it from the ad hoc diagnostic. Test the location. Okay, no, I don't have to remove it from the TOC diagnostic, but from the inspector. Which checks the diagnostics. Inspect diagnostic. And where we check so we check all the properties of the diagnostic. And perhaps we just remove the okay, there's the location. So we actually check the entire location. Perhaps we have ourselves our own comparer which checks everything. Okay, I'm actually okay, I am asserting the source span here. I actually don't check the entire location, but only the source span. And the source span is the text span, which has a start and the end, and those are now character based. And perhaps we switch here to don't have source span, but using the line span. And the line span is a file line position, which has a start and an end position, which not consists of the amount of character, but is actually a line and a character within that line, which would resolve that issue. And perhaps that's the way to go. which we should because in the talk diagnostic we can set a location. Yes, that's all. So no, it's actually yeah. The location that we set is internal, so the user can set it directly. So the markup parser now shouldn't require the source span anymore. But the line span. Oops. Okay, well, which I actually assert here. So perhaps just getting rid of that. And what does the parser do? We try, because we actually, where is the code? We, at the beginning, we check if this character is carriage return or the line feed. And if it is the carriage return, which is the Windows only thing, yeah, we also increase the character here. But this is not hit on non-Windows systems because the text that we pass in here and we check it on the non-Windows, the new line is just the line feed and not the carriage return. And we get here the line position. Okay, and then we say location create. Is there a, but I guess we need it for the location create. For location create, we need the text span and the line position span. So we have the text span that's created from the characters and the line position span with a start and an end that has the line number. So I guess we do need it anyway, but we just avoid asserting it because there is a severe difference. So I guess actually, because for here, we would actually need to, in order to confirm the correct behavior of the parser, we would actually need to switch on depending on the environment. And I wonder if there is a preprocessor directive for that. C# preprocessor directives. Yes. Is there Windows? No, I guess then I need to do a, can't check this on, yeah, okay, I can check it as a compile time because it may may compile on one system but run on a different system. If it's not platform specific. So I guess we need an if check. Basically if, is it environment is Windows? No, it's not. How to check if it's .NET check if Windows or check operating system. Information. System operating system dot is Windows. Okay. Is there no... Is Windows? Operating system is Windows. Ooh, is this not available on... Not now. Okay, it's only available since net 5. Platform ID. Okay, yeah, these methods are available starting with .NET 5, but we are targeting... Let's jump to... No, any project. Net Standard 2.0 and Net Core App 3.1 in order to be compatible or have the same target as these packages, the Roslyn packages. So, is there a different way? Where's description? Well, let's grab that. One-time information, and if the platform is, we have Linux, macOS, Windows. Okay, and for the Windows we use expect this one, else we expect -8, so that's 100 and 115. And I guess the same then would be here if perhaps we can shorten this. Bool is Windows, or perhaps has uses carriage return. Maybe that's more descriptive about why we are doing it. And if it has the carriage return, then, okay, where's the second diagnostic? The second diagnostic is here, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 line breaks here. So we need to go on -13, which is here, 175, no, 57. English and German, I always mix it up. And what did I say? -13. So we have 86. 186. No, 189. Yes. Do we have some more source spans that we check? Here as well. And here as well. Okay, perhaps where is the uses? Let's put this up into a private static read-only boolean. And what we have here, we are only, okay, I guess this was irrelevant because if it's only on one line, there is no carriage return. This is also just on one line. So there is no difference. I was a bit overzealous. All right, now let's have a look at where we use source span else. Of course, in the markup tests, the inspector. Because the additional diagnostics we also compare by source span, but we should compare them now by the line span. Span, okay. Is there more source span here? Because we order diagnostics by the source span, but it's just ordering. So because text span is comparable, well, we could, is the line span also comparable? It's only equatable. Now then I will stick with the source span here because it's comparable and it's only used for sorting, not for asserting. Okay, and where else do we have source span? It's the second time only for ordering. Okay, and I guess this should solve the issue. Because the location cannot be set directly, we have to do it via the markup span. And now have the internal behavior right. Now let's run the tests. Should be green again. And should now also pass on the CI, because for non-Windows systems we use the correct assertion. And the user has no direct influence on that, cannot set it directly. So that, and we are no longer asserting by that. So this should actually fix the test. And now I'm wondering what else is left for the first iteration of benchmarking. I would actually say that's it. Perhaps let's check if we have any warnings. Oops. But actually there shouldn't be any warnings. Because we set warnings as errors. We could have a look at the code coverage. This will take a time, I guess. maybe I'm doing now something bad because I'm building simultaneously. In the IDE and also the CLI, so they don't lock each other up. Okay. Okay, while the code coverage is being calculated, we see if there is any warning. Shouldn't be. Because we don't have all warnings as errors. Some obsoletions. Let's have a look at the... We do, if it's not debugged, we treat warnings as errors, but not CS0612 and CS0618, which are both diagnostics for obsolescence. So if something is marked obsolete, then I do not report this as error, because obsolescence actually has a Boolean flag where you can set it as error. And yeah, it shouldn't fail immediately, only because, in my opinion, this should be a warning, and well, should be fixed. But I consider it as a warning. So if we just go somewhere and have a look, there's a lot of red. Obsolete, which has an optional flag for error. Oh, tests are failing now. Okay. Ooh, did my changes break something? Okay, that should be the first move. For example, for analyzers. Unexpected diagnostic. Now the... Okay, I am missing the path of the location. And the additional locations are also off because the line span, not the file position, it's file position span, which also has the path to that file. So the, is this now the, perhaps let's copy this into a text file. What's now the expected and the actual? So the actual is missing the path because I don't supply that, I believe, to the analyzer. When we build the compilation, now yes, we do pass in the file path, and that's used. Let's make sure the file path is used. It's used to create the locations. Okay, so that it's not the past ones, but the... that confuses me now. So we create the locations. And we will use them to enrich the diagnostics that we expect. And while inspecting the diagnostic, because yeah, I was just checking the location by the text span, which consists of a start character and an end character, but not the file position, which has a path as well. So this now changed. Where the expected actually has the actual. Does the actual not have the file position? The actual has the actual span. Has a path. Also the expected has the path, that one that you saw, but the expected has no path. The actual. The actual has no path, which means that we do not set the, when we create the compilation, we do not set the paths for the files or for the documents. But because we only pass in syntax trees, that's the C# compilation creation. And that has syntax trees. And the syntax tree has no, it has a path. It has a path. Okay. So I guess we should also just the file path that we create here for the index, we should do the same now for the parsed. Perhaps where do we use this? Perhaps we change this into a tuple of string. Let's give them names. We have a text and a path. So we return the text and the path. String path that we use for the diagnostics, for the locations that we have for the diagnostics that we expect. And also now need to give it down the tree. So let's perhaps, can we? Not sure if we can, but so this would be, let's also use the overload. No, we don't use the overload for the index. So we'll have a source, which is text and path. Can we do a deconstruction here? No, that doesn't look valid. So we have the type is string text, string path, and the name is source. And we use, actually, do we need that? Perhaps just source is fine, because we can now say dot text. And the second argument is path. Source dot path. Okay. And I guess I also need to do this now for all the, well, we need it for the source generation, because there we also create the diagnostic or the compilation via the C# compilation or create. And for the others, we actually create a solution with a project, a talk solution with projects and documents where we pass them already. still failing because now we expect did I mess it up? So we have this text and the path, okay, and we create the the source text, and we also pass the path. Path is third, yes. Do I still have the breakpoint? I do not. So the expected still has the expected location value still has the path, and the actual location also has the path. Okay. So why does it fail now? I guess I didn't have a close look at the message. Ah, the additional locations. So how do we take care of these? Because we also, when we create a diagnostic, for the testing, we also set additional locations. We set the path to empty, the additional location empty line. Okay, we only set the, because that sufficed previously. But now we check the entire the file span of the location, the file position span. So this doesn't cut it anymore. Okay, so we need to pass in the correct file. But I generate the name of the file. Why should the user know? That's not so cool. Well, if they do, maybe I don't compare the file name, only the position, but it's actually, no, it's actually good. It would be more precise. But how do we basically expose this? We only have the file name that we create, or the path. And the parser is basically it's in the benchmark. Yeah, this is implementation detail. We don't really expose that. Or I just disallow comparing by additional locations. Or we publish this somehow to enable, because you don't necessarily need to, if we don't assert by additional location. If we don't set it in the inspection diagnostic, then it's not compared by. So if I would go ahead and comment these out, the tests will just pass. So I thought, because there is another diagnostic that we create. And oops, I actually see there was the icon, so we don't, and it still fails. Okay, now we still have an issue here for the regular location. That's diagnostic number 6 with ID 0002, additional text 6. Ah, okay, so that's different. So there's also something bad I do in the setup. Because we can set the paths here, but we're not really using these. So additional texts, let's go to the initialize. And we create the compilation. Ah, okay, that's bad. I'm also creating a new file path here. So we should actually use the one from the additional texts, because the additional text has a path and a text. And I just jumped to the wrong file, so we now have here source.path, which should fix that one. Okay, now it's the next one. It's now diagnostic number 7, which fails, because number 7, the location is off by bad. Location path 1. So we expected, but was actually somewhere else. Same, the line is correct, but the position is quite off. Why didn't I see this before? So that's diagnostic number 7. Is this still again? That's again yet an issue with new line. No, hold on. We're now only Windows, so that can't be. Why is it off by 19? We expected it on line 1, position 0, but it was actually in position 119. Now let's see what this analyzer that we use here is actually doing. So somewhere we have additional texts analyzer, which gets the location, and for the location perhaps we set something up here wrongly. And we've never seen it before because we weren't really asserting by these properties. We just report a diagnostic per line. Okay. And we also set additional locations. We no longer assert the additional locations, I hope. Yeah, it's just a regular location where we just pass in the location. And this location is an external final location, which has a path. And the saucepan is 017. Now, I quite don't. 017, that kind of looks all right. And then we report that diagnostic. Oh, so that's, okay, hold on, that's additional text 6, yes, but what about additional text number 7? This is now the one which is failing. Here we now have 1936 because we're using text span. Yeah, that's text span. But the text span isn't compared anymore, it's the line span. Okay, so the expectation is just off. But that would mean there is an error in the parsing. When we create a compilation, we invoke here the parser. And we have the path 1, okay, but that's all right. No, that's actually not all right because here we get the locations. And one of these locations, no, but that looks all right. It looks all right. 217. Are we using the locations wrongly? When we enrich, is this going bad? So we have 10 talk diagnostics and we have, yeah, they actually match. And when the ID is 7, we enhance our diagnostic with that location. Which the source span and the line span, yes, but that's good, isn't it? It looks all right. Now there's a talk diagnostic, has this location. Okay, it's internal because so that's why I can see it. Dot get line span. And the line span 117. So is the file is the text span off? That looks all right, doesn't it? Something I don't understand when it comes to the positions. Is it perhaps the reporting? It looks like it's good. Why does it fail? The expected locations, line span. Ah, it's the expect. Okay, this seems to be the expected, which is off. Because that has a start line position. No, it actually seems right. So it's the expected. It's on line number 1. 17 characters. And what's the actual? It's on line number 1. No, that's the line character count 19. It's the end. Am I comparing the right thing? That's 190. Okay, no, it is. The actual is wrong. Because it starts at line 19 and it is on line 1, but it starts at character 19 and ends at character 36. So the actual is wrong. That sounds weird because the actual is reported by the generator. Now there is something I don't really understand, I'm afraid, that we report here. Okay, I need to prove my location game. So that's the first one, yeah? It starts at character 0, ends at character 17. And the line span is line 0 from character 0 to character 17. Okay. And now number 2. The source span is 1936, yes. And the get line span is line 1, 1936. That seems incorrect. Which surprises me. Nah, I guess I do get lines here. Okay, I guess I messed something here up. Yes, okay. I do something wrong here. let's fix that. So it's addition test 6, this is fine. And for the additional text 7, which is one line afterwards, in order to get the line position start, create a line span. And I use the line number, that's right, but I use the start. Okay, and that's a start character. That's the text line. That's the start of the character, not the start of the overall character, not within that line. So I misunderstood what text line is doing. Let's see what text line has. It has an end. Gets the end position of the line, not including the line break. But actually, it's the line span not including the line break. If the text with the line number, you have the end including the line break. Okay. Text span creates a text span, yes, and the text span we use here. Does this mean I need to, from the previous line, remove the end? I guess with the line breaks. Line number is fine. Start is start. Okay, and that's really the position. But it says gets the start position of the line. It gets the start position of the line and not. That's my error. It's getting the start position of the line and not the start position within that line, of the line number. Okay. Okay, so I guess for that, so I was reporting wrongly. I guess we need to, for each line, let's say this would be line start. But line start is always 0, should be 0. Line start should always be 0. Let's. How can we do this with the lines? So within the line start. Oops, that's of course an integer. But so within that line. Line end. So we have the line number and we get the start. Well, I guess we need the previous end and deduct it from the current start. Because I'm always reporting here the entire line. So let's just start at 0. And the end is this. From the end, we would use the previous start. This may be working. So let's say line int previous line end. Start at 0. And we previous line end is the start of the current line. And we say here, deduct previous line end from it. This may be incorrect. So we have, for the first one, we start at 0, 0, we end at 0, 17, yes. The next one is 1, 0, 136, because the previous line end is still 0. That's wrong. I guess I need to say, actually, it's the current line end. Yes, where the line starts. This is the previous line end. I guess we need to do it like this. At the beginning it will be 0. Yes. And for the next one, the start is 19. I think I need to include there is an end including line breaks. Which is not good. Okay, just end. No, which is also, yeah, okay, because it was, yeah, this, I guess, like so. I hope. So we now have the previous line end was 17, and we deducted from this current end. And then we are from at line 1, character 0 to character 19, which would mean that additional text is 19 characters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 15, 16, 17, 18. 19. Does it include the break? Oh, is it 0 based or 1 based? Yeah. Let's see. Let's see what the test is doing. It's still failing because we are off by 2. Is this still line break? Perhaps it is. So let's and including the line break. But what if I don't do it here? But is it just the current end? I'm really not sure how the text line property here is working. Now we have an arrow for our uh-oh. So we now, okay, so this now, we now have a different issue. We had a debug assert. Why did I not hit this before? because I'm not sure. This is in the inspection. We get all diagnostics. So I fixed one thing, and basically I think now the code here was basing on a, oh no. Okay, so I guess I need to say here also, including line break. No, because the line position, is it without, just without line breaks? But then I'm missing, then I'm off by 2 characters. Here. Actually, don't want, in this location, I don't want to include it. The line breaks. For the end here. And if we, so the end is 17, and the next start, what's actually start is 19. So the start includes the okay, so it's guess only about the current line. How do I go about this? What if I reduce the start previously? What if we say, assume the start is the previous end? So we will first return and for the second line we have 19 at the end, and we reduce that. Okay, that actually now looks all right, unless it isn't. Okay, because we move too much. Because the end, there is no new line break at the end. Ah, that's so if it's the last line, the start is no, something is wrong here. Curve in the line index of start. Something I really don't understand about the line, text line. Did I get from the source text? perhaps there is something else that we could use. Line position span. Can we perhaps say text line dot get, oh no, was that private internal? Oh no, that was on the collection. That was on the, oops, text line collection. Which I totally evaporate here. Source lines. Lines is a text line collection. Okay, so what if we say text line dot get line position span, because this is what we need for the collection here, and we pass in the text line. And we get rid of all of that, perhaps. And then I assume get line position span. That's the right thing for me. And it seems it does. Cool. Well, of course it does the right thing. But is that the thing that I need? And it seems that it is. And test turns. I'm here. My icon is here. Yes, it's green. Okay. I was using the text line wrongly. Wondering if they have the span. They don't. There's a from span. There's the text span including the breaks, but no file position. Okay. I'll get line position, not file position. Line position. There's no line position. All right. And we get it via the lines. Okay. There's also a get position, get text span, but we have that. And I guess that's it what we need. Cool. Perhaps that line is getting a little bit longer. I say line span. Okay, cool. So green test. And also issues with source generators, because we also create the C# compilation there. Yeah, we seem to have the same issue. Also, but before is the file path is missing. So I'm doing, because I'm quite doing this similar thing, quite the same thing. Not the same, but quite similar. in order to create the compilation, because we're not using what we did with suppressors and refactorings and code fixes. We actually created it with an ad hoc solution, project, documents. We did this somewhat manually. And here we do say C# generator driver, okay. And where is the, we say additional texts. Is it just additional text? Ah, there it is, the compilation, create compilation. And we created via C# compilation.create. And again, we have the syntax trees here. And here again, but we don't have the tag, we only have a source here. So, okay, here now we need to, it's similar, not the same. Use the select where we pass in the source and an int index. And use that create file path to create that very same hold on. Yep. Index. And in the, so that was the incremental generator, and I see what, let's first see if it's really working. Need to do the same for the, it's not. Because the additional locations are now off. Okay, same thing. Okay, I still need to fix the additional locations, but if I don't, locations, perhaps for now I really in the inspector remove the additional locations for now. I need to fix them later, but the regular locations should be fine. And this was for the incremental generator, and the same we need to do for the source generator, the 3.9 version, 3.8, Roslyn 3.8 version of it. When we create the compilation, that's pretty much the same code because they're quite similar. We also need the index. And this should turn this test green as well. This should turn everything green. I'm not sure about the additional texts. I guess I think about that and try to solve that off stream. Okay, so now we fixed the problem with the different line endings by not observing the line endings anymore, but the file position, which start at a line and then have the character within that line. So there is no line breaks basically anymore. And now I do what I started, try to cover all the tests and see what the code coverage is doing. We also started this one build before, which has 0 error, 0 warnings. So there isn't even any warning about obsolescence, so that's good. And let's see how the code coverage is doing. It's only one measurement. But okay, in the source we have this. It's interesting, the incremental is way better than the source generator. Okay, we have just one. Framework version is totally uncovered. But let's check out the core version. Are we not using these in any test? I'm surprised. So we are not using the init access, so that's why, I guess. But the test is using it. No, actually the test is here. So we are adding to the collection, not assigning it. But if some, okay, well, I want to see some critical coverage issues. So we'll focus on these. I guess with here we have the same, so let's actually have a look at some logic. Logic seems fine. The actual source, the actual benchmarking type is 100% covered. So let's have a look at the others. That's the incremental. Guess we have a similar issue. So the benchmarking type is 100% covered. So we have the same issues here. Well, because the property is not being used, I guess, well, so we're just adding test for the sake of the coverage. We want to see some issues. Okay, the null sharp diagnostic analyzer, which does nothing. Don't really care about that. Just want to spot some potential issues. Same here. The type itself is 100% covered. That's important. And then there is the shared library. Where, okay, the markup is not. How can I view the that's in markup. See the gutter indicators on the left side. Am I doing something wrong? To not see these. Well, because we are, but the tests are definitely running on core. Perhaps let's, we're not, yeah, but this shouldn't be an issue. Not sure why we don't get the coverage indicators here. Perhaps with continuous testing on build. I'm afraid I'm not sure what I'm doing wrong. to not see these here, but it's not 100%, so we have 14 lines missing. Would like to find that out. Perhaps I will revisit this later when I figured out what I'm doing wrong to not see the gutters here. So we have here some markup location, but it's never get. Okay, that's just some getting setting. I want to see some potential logical errors, like this is never called, which is interesting. So we could just remove it. I'll check this later if we can just remove it. And this, okay, here we have some, we only have the failing. Oh, okay, actually I have no test. Actually I have no test which is failing right now and shows the errors. So that makes sense to add a test here later on. Add test which checks for failure. And same here. And same here. This seems unused. We may remove this because it's not invoked by the test. Okay. And I guess this is, here's another one. And it's internal, so this is why we could just remove it. And I guess we check the, okay, here are some partially covered. I don't see the gutters, but something is not 100% covered here. I guess again, failure case. But okay, so I will add a couple of tests for the failure cases to get more coverage. And I guess this is pretty much it. The rest we had a look at. Cool. Oh, there's even in the test something not executed. It's the non-Windows thing, yeah. I mean, how could this be executed? It will be executed on different on the CI, but then the line up here is not covered. So that's all right. And okay, in the samples we don't have any tests. Cool. So yeah, I will add those tests. They are not all exciting, all too exciting to add. I'll do this off stream immediately afterwards. And I guess this is it what I wanted to show. So I will add those tests. Then publish the new version. Actually see, hopefully that everything, all the tests pass now on the CI, so for both Windows and Unix, or non-Windows. And then this should be it for this series. Usually I start quite end quite late. This time perhaps I end a little bit earlier. This is what I want to show about our benchmarking library. And this will conclude the series. And now it's time for announcing the new series. So I'll jump over to Stritch, and so the new schedule will be on Saturdays at 11 a.m. This is GMT plus 2. So in UTC, this is from 9 to 10. We will be streaming 1 hour. And I already said we. The title will be To Code or Not To Code. And the 2 is distinct or explicit because I will be joined by a friend of mine, and we will co-stream about something non-Roslyn. So it will be a little bit less niche for the next series. That's software and coding, right? Software and game development. And we will start this with next Saturday, so this will be in 6 days. We will stream. We will not, I don't want to spoil the actual topic that we are building together, but it will be something Christmas themed. So here's not a spoiler, but a teaser. And yes, and then the other one, I will remove the one from Sundays. Why does it say every Monday? Every Saturday. And it again says every Monday, every Saturday. I go figure this out later. And yes, then I have, so on the stream, I guess for the rest of the year, perhaps next year again, but for the rest of this year, won't be streaming about Roslyn anymore. But if you would like to get a little bit more content about Roslyn in general, but source generators in particular, I got some events coming up. So the first one is actually tomorrow. I'll post in the links and also highlight them here. The scheme is not so stream friendly. So this will be tomorrow, the .NETos conference, where it's a 3-day conference, and Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday will be 3 sessions each day about .NET performance and .NET internal kind of sessions. So, and I will be talking about source generators, but focusing on performance aspects of both source generators and also on the source generator per se and the code it generates. The next event posting in the links. Is the JetBrains.net days plus Game Dev Day. So last year it was 2 days of .NET, and this year there is 3 days, where the third day is a dedicated game development day. And my turn is on the 25th, which is Tuesday, the 20. Yes, and I'll be building a source generator live. So this will be a very live code heavy session, and I'll be building one generator. I'm not sure which one to build yet. Perhaps I give also a selection to choose from the audience, from you potentially live. And a similar session, but with a different generator to build, I'll also having at the Update conference in Prague. Which is on the 10th and 11th of November. I think there is also a virtual ticket if you can't make it to Prague. The schedule for both days is already published. And also, beginning of next year, or end of January next year, at NDC London. which is a 5 days conference where the first 2 days, Monday and Tuesday, are workshop days, and Wednesday, Thursday, Friday are conference days. And the agenda for both the workshops and the conference itself is already published. So go have a look, and I guess I will use this opportunity to get some source generator stuff out of my system. And this is it for the benchmarking library for C Roslyn components. Perhaps I will come back to this topic next year and filling in the gaps for the Visual Basic part of this story. And then let's see what else we come up with, because I now get backup, and now there will be 2 of us. And yeah, so announcements, conclusion, we fixed the bug, and this is it for this series. I want to thank you very much for joining in, and for the frequent viewers, thank you very much for sticking with this session. And yeah, I'll be back next Saturday. Have a great day, and may Roslyn be with you. Goodbye.